Hi, Toby.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I was getting prepared to just be stood up, so I was just sitting here like, wow, really? How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. It's been a busy day.
Really? What have you been up to?
Just a couple projects that I'm working on, but I'm also like moving house this weekend, so I'm just like, yeah, trying to like do everything.
There's nothing worse in this world than moving house.
It's the worst thing. There's nothing joyful about it at all.
Even when you get in there and it's like a new space, you still got all your disgusting boxes that you've got to unpack and find space for. So enjoy, have a good time. Thank you so much for obviously making time, because I appreciate you're busy as it is, let alone moving house. So we really appreciate you making the time to speak with us today.
No, it's all good. I'm glad that, yeah, it's happening.
I'm not even gonna try to introduce you because I mean, shout out to you. The list was so long. I was trying to rehearse it. Like, listen, between writer, producer, founder of the Black Tea Project, I just was like, I'm gonna let her do herself justice. So, Toby, for people who are gonna watch this and may have never come across you before, can you tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, so I'm a primary, oh, well, I would say I'm primarily a producer, kind of working across lots of different art forms really, but I guess like more specifically film, audio, and the live kind of space. And then I also write as well, kind of mainly like nonfiction articles and essays. And I'm about to direct my first thing, which is going to be interesting.
That's amazing.
Thank you. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Are you nervous about directing?
Yeah, it's just different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because obviously you do quite a bit, and I'm really interested to hear how you got involved in this space in the first place. Is this exactly what you set out to do?
Um, Not really, like kind of. I guess like, at school I was always very much like interested in the arts at that time, specifically performing arts, because that was I guess the main thing that was sort of pushed to young people. I think now it might be different, but no one really knew much about like radio or audio or film or whatever. So it was kind of like theatre was like the thing.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like did a lot of stuff that was in that kind of area. And then went to college and did a performing arts BTEC. So again, like stayed in like the performance world, but I didn't want to be a performer.
Right.
And at the time, like, roles like producing weren't really a thing, or just weren't really talked about much. And so then I got to like my final year of college, and my teacher was just like, if you don't want to like be an actor, then like just don't go to drama school. And I was a bit like, oh, okay, so like what do I do? And so was looking for like internships and apprenticeships and stuff like that I could just do for a year, and the plan was always to just like do something for a year and then go to uni.
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing an apprenticeship in community arts administration at Battersea Art Centre in Battersea, which is also like where I grew up as well. I know a lot of that was like working with young people and communities, and sort of like using art and liveness as a way to sort of work with communities, and I really enjoyed it. And then I was just like, all right, I'll just like keep doing this, and yeah, just kept doing it.
And now we're here. And what came first then? Did it just naturally go into producing, or did you start writing first? Like, do you even remember the order, or is it all just like blurred in now?
I think with writing, it was something that you just like something that I did a little bit at school, but it wasn't like, I never like saw a career in writing. I never wanted to be like a writer or an author or anything like that. So producing like definitely kind of came first. And I guess because it's just like, it's super practical, it's super like results based, it's that kind of like really on the ground working with people. And then writing was more kind of, I think Black Ballad, who are like an online magazine platform that cater to Black women. They commissioned me to like write my first ever article, and I was a bit like, I don't know why I'm being paid to write. I'm not a writer, like, are you sure? So that was like my first ever kind of like writing something and putting it out into like the world. And then after that, like other platforms that cater to mainly like women and people of color, like gal-dem, kind of commissioned me a couple times to write things, and then people just kept asking me to write things, and it's still quite a strange thing. Like, I only recently got bullied by my friends into calling myself a writer, because they were just like, you need to put it in your bio, and I'm just like, I don't want to. So yeah, it's something that I still don't fully maybe like connect with on that kind of level.
Why do you think that is? Look at me trying to get deep about this. Do you think it's like an imposter syndrome thing, or is it because you feel like your passion lies in producing and writing just doesn't feel like what is that? Why don't you want to call yourself a writer?
Maybe it is an imposter syndrome thing. I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit like, oh, I don't know. Like, I think my thing with, you know, if you're a writer, I don't know. I guess I have a particular perception of like what I think a writer is, even though so many of my friends are writers. But
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't know. Like, this isn't what I do, and it's not something that I've you know always wanted to do or known that I wanted to do. Even though, you know, I love storytelling, so it kind of makes sense. But it is probably an imposter syndrome thing of just being like, I don't want to claim that, but also I guess like as a producer, you're so much in the background that no one really knows about you, and that's kind of fine. But I guess as a writer, it's your words, and it's you writing these words, and everyone knows that you wrote those words. And I think there's something about that kind of scares me a little bit as well.
Yeah, maybe it's like a transition thing, because you're saying you're not a writer, but unless my research is way off, I'm pretty sure there's a non-fiction series coming out this year, right? I'm not a writer, so let's talk about this, please. Tell me about it and where the inspiration comes. It's a quick thing on Share the Theatre. Yeah. So tell me a bit about that, and how you're not writing it and not a writer.
Yeah, so Jacaranda Books is a really amazing publishing company. I think they're one of like the only independent Black owned and kind of Black led publishing companies in the UK, probably. And their editor, Mags, shout out to Mags, she created this amazing series called A Quick Ting On, which is kind of looking at different areas of Black Britishness and Black British culture, and commissioning kind of like young writers to write on different topics. So I'm writing about Black British theatre kind of over the last 2 decades. And she literally just like sent me a voice note and was like, do you want to write a book? And I was like, no. And then literally I was like, why would I want to write a book? And then we just had a lot of conversations. Mags is very persuasive. And so yeah, there's gonna be a book on Afrobeats, a book on grime, a book on Black British businesses, a book on Black British power movements, fashion, kind of like it's really across the board, which is also what's amazing about this, because it feels like there isn't that much resource when it comes to kind of like Black British like history and Black British topics specifically. And that's kind of one of the only reasons why I said yes to doing it, because I just felt like when it came to Black British theatre, there is just like very, very little information out there, and the info that is out there kind of like stops at the 1970s or the 1980s. So when it comes to actually looking at like contemporary Black British theatre and all the incredible artists that are making things at the moment and all the amazing shows that have happened, it's sort of like, you know, who's documenting this time? And so that's, yeah, it's kind of the only reason why I said yes to doing it. But that's coming out in January next year.
Oh, well, good luck with it. I hope it goes really well for you. And honestly, like, it sounds that you're so passionate, and it's kind of clear, like looking at what you've done and what your motivations have been. Obviously, I'm assuming here, so you can correct me, but I think it's amazing when people do with a purpose. And obviously I feel like you're very motivated in showing obviously what you've spoken about in terms of like Black women, also representation in the theatres, you said. So can I ask, was that always the goal? Did you come in and go, I want to do things with a purpose and produce content with a purpose, or how did that evolve?
I feel like it probably mainly evolved from a place of just saying I don't want to work on things that I don't like in like quite a selfish way. It was just like, actually, I feel like I physically can't do this. Like I can't pour my time and my energy and my resource into working on things that I actually don't really care about. And it feels like all the work that I've done and the stories that I want to tell and the people that I want to work with, they've all been things and people and stories that I'm invested in some kind of way. And I just feel like I don't understand working in any other kind of context or any other kind of way where it's just like, oh yeah, let's like put something out, but actually I have no affiliation to that thing. And so it's just been a way for me to, I guess it's also just been a way for me to like work with my friends, because I guess like in the very beginning when you're making stuff and people aren't commissioning you, or they're not funding you, or they're not kind of giving you that resource yet, it was the only way that we were able to still put what we wanted out there in terms of us collaborating and making work and just trying to think, do you know what I mean, and just seeing if it works. And I got so used to being able to do that with my friends that when it came to then working in organizations, like for me, like nothing had really changed. It wasn't a case of, okay, now I work for an organization and, you know, now things are going to be different. It was still like, actually, I really want to push for things that I'm invested in and stories that I think everyone should hear and everyone should know about, because these things are important, you know?
Yeah. And that's so admirable, honestly. Like, as someone who's in the industry, obviously in a different way, but it's so easy to like sell your soul without realizing you're selling your soul, or to get sucked into things. It's almost like once you gain experience somewhere, they're like, oh, you've done this, you can totally do this. But doing something with purpose, or because you actually care, makes such a difference. Were you able to say no straight away? Were you ever offered things? Obviously, I know you said Mags has convinced you to do both, but you just making your own. But did you have to teach yourself to be like, no, I'm not doing it? Or
100%. And I think that was also down to, you know, like when you start getting approached by like the big brands and the big organizations, it's very like, it's like a shiny thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this brand wants to work with me and da 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 da. And if I say no, then that opportunity is never going to come around again. And obviously that's not true. And I feel like I was very, I guess, like grateful in the beginning. I just felt like I had to say yes to everything. And then it got to a point where it was just like, actually, this isn't really worth my time, and I'm also not really working on things that I'm not invested in, and in turn I'm maybe not as proud of the work as well because of the way that it's come out. And you know, there's no point working on something and then it comes out and you don't even want to share it because you're you're not happy with it, or you're embarrassed by certain things. And
delete.
Literally, I'm just like, don't even I don't have Instagram, I don't have Twitter, don't tag me in anything. So yeah, I think it's only recently where I've been okay sort of saying I don't think this is for me, but maybe talk to this person because they might want to take it on, or something like that, which it still feels a little bit weird. I'm still a bit like, oh, when I do it, but it's necessary.
Yeah. And I think that's something that should be spoken about a lot more, because I feel when people are at the beginning, they say yes to so many things because they're like, imagine if this opportunity doesn't come again, or imagine if the company puts like an X next to my name and remembers me in the future. So it's good to hear that even if you say no, it doesn't actually stop you from achieving whatever it is you want to achieve.
Yeah, 100%.
So Tobi, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that the awards seasons and all the years have been mixed up because of the pandemic and things, but you won a creative award this year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. First of all, congratulations. That's honestly huge considering we've been in a pandemic and life's been upside down and everyone's lost it a little bit. So tell me a bit about this and like how you felt.
Yeah, it was quite an unexpected thing, kind of, you know, like you said, like so much has been happening over the last 18 months. And I feel like I wasn't really, last year in particular, like I wasn't really online. Like I just couldn't deal with like everything that was happening globally and as well as just like locally. And so, but I still got to work on like lots of really amazing projects, which was really a blessing, I guess, for me to still be active and still be able to work and to work on things I wanted to work on, which I know, you know, especially in the creative industries, a lot of people weren't able to do that, especially when like the theatres shut down and things like that. But I worked on a really amazing project called My White Best Friend, and Other Letters Left Unsaid, which was at the Royal Court Theatre. Well, we did it online, but it was with the Royal Court last year, directed by Millie Bhatia and co-curated by Rachel Delahaye. And it was kind of a series of letters written by Black writers on whatever they wanted. So I guess after the 2020 uprising, we were kind of thinking about what are the different ways that we can honor Black artists, but also in a way that didn't feel like, oh, you need to write about Black Lives Matter and you need to write about people being killed in Nigeria and Congo and every, like, you didn't need to, it was more just about, listen, here's money, first of all, here's a commission, write about whatever you want. And of course, like, some people did choose to write about what was happening and racism and anti-Blackness and all this kind of stuff, and other people just write about whatever they wanted, and that was like a really gorgeous thing. And then they were sort of like cold read out by actors, so we would sort of cast the letters, and on the day the actors would basically get the letter in an envelope and open it in front of the audience and start reading. So they've never read these letters before, there's no rehearsal, we literally have one meeting with them before to say, this is who's written it, you're gonna read it. And that's it. And they're just like, cool. So they don't even know like what's coming. And so it's really like gorgeous and just really pure, and really pure. And that it was just like such a pleasure to work on. And then this award kind of popped up and I was just a bit like, cool, okay.
It's amazing though. That's like such a lovely achievement, especially as I said, because a lot of people felt a bit weird last year. They didn't want to be online because every time you're online, even a bit at the beginning of this year, every time you go on, something is happening. So for you to be able to translate that into something that's so impactful, I think is honestly amazing. So like, massive congratulations, and hopefully you'll get something similar on your book series that you've been forced to write. I can't get over that, honestly. Are you working on anything else this year? Have we got any other projects that we can look forward to?
So next week I'm directing for the first time, which is kind of making me want to vomit. A documentary about Nigerian hall parties in the 90s and the early 2000s, which was part of the Netflix documentary talent fund. So it's kind of like 10 filmmakers kind of get some money from Netflix to make a documentary. So we're working on that, and that'll be out at some point next year, I don't know. And then there's an online series at the moment, which is for teenagers, which is just about sex and our bodies and relationships and all this kind of stuff, which I think will also be out at some point next year as well.
Oh, amazing. And is this like going to be posted on like online? Is there somewhere I can find it? Or?
Yeah. So the online series is with Channel 4, so that will be on their thing. And then the documentary will come out with Netflix, but I think we'll kind of do some festivals first.
That's amazing. Are you going out to Nigeria, or is everything taking place here?
I wish, everything was taking place here. That would have been like the dream, but COVID and everything has, everything's going to be here, but we're still going to capture some like parties that are happening here as well, which is going to be really nice.
Amazing. Hopefully by next year traveling should be easier and we'll all kind of go back to normal, and the next one hopefully you can do somewhere else.
I hope so.
Tobi, before I let you go, I wanted to ask a question for creatives that watch this that either want to be a writer or producer and are struggling, or in early stage not sure what to do, what's your top tips for people that are at that stage?
My top tips, I think, like, first of all, just start to make the thing. I feel like a lot of people, I kind of hear a lot of people be like, oh, I can't do it because I don't have funding from this person, or I don't have this and I don't have that. And it's just like, actually just like do it with your friends. Like, you will have the skills amongst the people that you already know, and also doing it in that way is like the best way to just learn and to fail safely, I would say, as well. So yeah, just start making the thing. I guess just like don't be a dick, like don't, just like be a nice person. Like, yeah, I guess as a producer, that there isn't a single person that I don't talk to. And it's also like mad, like now I'm kind of like chatting to people and working with people that I first started talking to like years ago. So you just be just be a nice person, because like you just meet so many incredible people that way. And I guess like also just like find the best way of working for you. I feel like very early in my career, like I was just watching everyone and being like, okay, cool, I need to be like this, or I need to do this, or oh, that producer does that, so then I need to do that. And actually everyone is just making everything up as they go along. So just like find the best way of working for you and then stick to that. And probably, I guess also just like I have to keep reminding myself that we're just working with people, you know, like even if it's a big brand, even if it's a big organization, just sort of, I need to be like, actually, like, you're all just a group of people ultimately, and we all have a goal. But we also all make mistakes and all of this kind of stuff, because we're just human. And I think that also helps a little bit with the imposter syndrome of feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be here because it's XYZ brand. And it's like, actually, no, it's a group of people that work for that brand, and it's fine. And if they reached out to me, then obviously I'm meant to be here.
Totally. I love that. Thank you so much, Tobi. I could literally talk to you for ages. I've like been stalking you for a while. Stalking is such a researching, and I think what you've done is awesome. And I honestly have so much respect for, obviously, all creatives, but people that manage to do things with a purpose and a passion. Honestly, it's just like so lovely to see. So I wish you the best with all the other projects and all your future projects. And I'm definitely going to keep tabs on it, because it sounds really interesting what you're working on.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Good luck with the move.
Thank you.
It was lovely to meet you.
You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye.